Now we're going to have a look at the process. So we've delved in and tried to understand the domain, and now we're going to talk about the process. So again, we said that the process is more of the action now. The occupational therapy process describes the actions that the practitioners take when they are providing a service that is client-centered or that is focused on engaging in occupations. So that is basically what it is. So now this is basically when we start using words like intervention. That's the action that's being taken. So we have 6 major components when it comes to the occupational therapy process. And basically the occupational therapy process is theory and data based. It is all the theory that you collect. That is why it is so crucial to do data collection. Your data collection needs to be absolutely on point for this process to succeed. The major components that we are looking at is number 1, theory. Number 2, evaluation. Number 3 is problem definition. Number 4 is intervention planning. Number 5 is intervention implementation. And then number 6 is the re-evaluation of everything. So now we have our theory. Theory is everything that we have been learning at the domains, everything we've just been learning, the anatomy, the psychology, all of it is going to be taken and it's going to be nicely interpreted into this process where you now are using all of that knowledge to kind of link it back to your process. And the second one is the evaluation. But with the evaluation, this is when we are doing our data collection. Like, we are just taking as much information as possible from the client. We are organizing it according to the occupational performance. So we're just taking all the information that the client, remember the areas in which we look at, which are our domains, like the values, the context, the environment, all of that is the information that we are taking now, and we are looking at it in depth. We have number 2, which is the problem definition. So when a client is coming to you, obviously there's something wrong, or there's something that they need you to help them with. So after your knowledge and the theory that you have, that you've gained, and after you evaluating, you then have to define the problem. So after you've taken all of that information, defining the problem is next, because I mean, you can't carry on in a system where you haven't identified a problem, and in order for you to actually change something, you have to notice that there's something wrong. So this is actually the most crucial part, and now that I'm practicing, I understand what our lecturers were always drilling in, that you have to have the most detailed of problems, because once you get to the problem, you are able to provide the necessary solutions for that. So this information that you are gathering to identify problems is now that the one that's helping you kind of build an occupational profile for the client. So you're looking now at the client, you're looking at who they are, what they do, what is the problem, and what has taken away from them being able to do what they do. So you're creating that profile for them, and you're creating it for yourself as well, so that you can kind of sit down when you are away from the client. You can sit down and start thinking about possible solutions that you can help this person with. And when we are looking at this part of the OT process, it's very important for us to, yes, take the dysfunctions, take the disabilities, take the dysfunctions into consideration, but please also take the positive things, the ability, the client's ability to do certain things, what they excel in, what they are good at. Those are very crucial things when you are looking at the client's ability versus their disability. Then it will also help you in your intervention when you are now looking at them and trying to see what to focus on. It's never a good thing to focus on a person's disability. Do you know what I mean? So it's important for you to also take what the client is able to do so that it is transitioned into your intervention planning, and you can use some of those strengths to combat the weaknesses or the disability at hand at that current point in time. And then after problem definition, we have the intervention planning. So when we are doing the intervention planning, we are thinking about strategies, we are thinking about modalities that can now assist with the problems that we've identified. And the reason why we look for these is so that we have an understanding that these are possible strategies and modalities that can actually assist alleviate the dysfunction and actually improve the client's occupational performance. At the same time, while we are doing intervention planning, it's very important for us to also simultaneously have outcomes. So in all of this, what are your outcomes for this specific client? Of course, you have your theory, you have your evaluation, you have your problem definition, you have your plan, your intervention plan. Now you also have to, while you're doing your intervention plan, it helps for you to kind of have a long-term vision of what you'd like your patient to be able to now do. So it would be a good thing for you to, in this moment, think about the outcomes that you wish for this client as well. So let me give an example. In my last video, I was giving an example with a lady who has a stroke. So when I'm doing that planning, it's important for me to remember her roles, her motor skills currently that she has, and everything that is considered to be important to her specifically. I need to have outcomes that are saying, okay, at the end of this intervention, I want Mama to be able to prepare a simple meal for her family because that is what was important to her. Or I want that, or both of us, it's not what I want as a therapist, it's both of you kind of having an idea after having listened to the client, after having built that occupational profile that makes you have an understanding of how to be appropriate and how to be client specific. Because if the process is not client specific, then what are you doing really? So those are the kinds of things that you think about when you are thinking of the process, is the problems, the evaluations, and the outcomes, right? Then we have the intervention implementation. So this is where now you are taking your plan and you are putting it into practice, and now you're actually doing the actual therapy, right? This is the most exciting part. So the whole time you were sitting, you were asking questions, you were assessing, you wanted to know a lot of things so that you know how to put yourself in, so that you are of greatest help to this client that is in front of you. The implementation is when your plan now is operationalized and the action is taken to be able to achieve the outcome. That's it. Last but not least, re-evaluation. It is so important. Like, you know, when our lecturers were telling us these things, we were just like, but it's so important for you to be able to kind of gauge, okay, so here we are, I've seen the clients, I've started doing therapy, let me reevaluate what is working, what is not working, what needs to be changed, what needs to be modified, what needs to be taken off the list completely. So reevaluation is also very crucial in knowing that, are you actually meeting the outcomes that are set? Are you both satisfied in the therapy, the client and you as the practitioner, because you want to be able to provide the best help possible? And if you don't evaluate yourself or evaluate your clients, or also give your client that opportunity to evaluate themselves and be like, you know what, actually last week I couldn't even get out of bed by myself. This week I'm getting out of bed. And that reevaluation actually helps you strike off a few things off the list, because now you got the patient to actually get themselves out of bed. Why would you still work on that? Do you know what I mean? Now you need to add on to things that are amazing, that are actually going to take the clients and improve their occupational performance. So yeah, it's basically that you're taking the data that you collected in the beginning and you're recollecting it, and you're looking at them, and there has to be a difference. I mean, definitely, because you've been doing therapy, you're seeing this client every day. Of course, there is some change that's going to be seen, but also it's to help you so that when there is no change, you know how to step in and actually facilitate that change. And then after all of that is done, one of three things is going to happen. Number one, it's either we're going to add on to new things that need to be modified, that need to be adapted, new things though, that we have now achieved some of the other things, but now we're adding new things because some of the problems that we had before have actually been met. The second thing is discharge. The patient and the client has gone back to their normal functioning, or you have done the best that you could. Both of you have given therapy your best shot, and you have actually met your outcomes, and there's only determination left that, thank you, I see you're improving, I see you have gone back to your roles, I see that you are doing your activities of daily living as normal. This is when also the fulfillment comes in as a therapist, that, oh my goodness, we are achieving new goals, or we're done, we did it. And then the last thing that could happen is that not a lot of change happened during that time, but the maximum intervention, the maximum benefit has been reached. And I think as therapists, but also you as an upcoming therapist, understand that there's only so much you can do. And it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that your client, there's no hope for them. It doesn't mean that. It means that you have tried your absolute best, and now it's up to just time to its thing. Sometimes a patient can improve dramatically when they are at home if they're getting the care that they need, versus how they are taking therapy when they are in the hospital. So never be too hard on yourself, please, therapists. Don't be too hard on yourself when you have done your absolute most to reach the maximum benefits. It is okay to discontinue services. It is okay to let a client go and check out another OT. Maybe they have different strategies. Maybe they've done a course differently from you that can help the clients. So don't ever take that and see it as a reflection on you, or as a reflection on your clients. Definitely not. So now that we've kind of had an understanding of the process, that's it. That's the process. And basically the domain and the process are there to guide practitioners. They are there to guide therapists as we are, or as they seek to assist clients with their everyday participation of daily activities, with their improving of occupational performance, with the improving of their quality of life, with the improving of their health and well-being. They are there for us to be able to lead our clients into an improved occupational performance. They are there to also help us navigate different contexts. Like, as South Africans, we don't come from the same context, we don't come from the same environments. So the domain and the process kind of helps us to really and fully understand your clients, in the sense of where are they coming from, what are they doing, how do they do it, and why have they come to you to be able to get back to where they were. So even though I have explained the domain and the process separately, they are intrinsically linked. They are linked in such a way that one cannot breathe without the other, and the one cannot see without the other. Basically, how this actually happens is through simultaneous attention to the client's body functions, body structures, skills, roles, habits, routines, context, combined with a focus on the client as an occupational being. Can you see now that these things are they are now making sense when you explain them together? And practitioners' knowledge of health and performance, enhancing effects of occupational engagement, that outcomes such as occupational performance, role competency, and participation in daily activities is produced. That is the only reason why we are doing this. The reason why they are intrinsically linked transactionally with each other is because we're constantly using them to kind of understand the client's occupational performance, their engagement in their daily activities, and their role competency by looking at their body functions, their skills, their habits, their routines, their roles. Those are very important things for us to really consider and understand why therapy is so important and how therapists actually go about to looking at an individual. It's not just, hi, this is the problem. No, it's really scientifically based. It really has evidence. It shows the things that are collected show the dysfunction, and they show the gaps that need to be filled. And that is why the OT process works so beautifully together as the domains and the process. So I know that this was a mouthful, but I just want you to familiarize yourselves with the jargon, with the whole idea of what occupational therapy is, and it's really going to help you as you are going into varsity. And I really do wish you the best of holidays. Please enjoy your December holiday. Be safe, take care of yourself, and I will definitely see you in my next video. Bye.